Alright guys, this is Inaccurate. So over the past probably like 5 days or so, I've been watching a lot of movies based on anime TV series. And what I mean by that is, let's say we have like Bleach, and then Bleach comes out with a movie. That movie is basically related to the anime TV series, usually coming afterwards and not before. And I was going through these movies and some thoughts kind of went through my head, such as what kind of good qualities do I kind of really look for in these like movies based on anime TV series. So the first movie or movies that I watched were the Hibike Euphonia movies. And apparently I didn't know this when I was looking it up. There's actually 3 movies out of it. And to my surprise, these were all recap movies. If you're like a first time watcher and you don't know what a recap movie is, it basically takes the original anime TV series, slices it up, and then kind of cuts it down into a more watchable format. So basically it's like you're rewatching the anime TV series. And don't get me wrong, I did not actually watch these movies, because once I saw that it was a recap movie, I pretty much went, oh hell no, fuck this, I'm not wasting my time on this, even though my time is basically worthless. And it's not like the actual anime TV series or the actual movie is bad. In fact, I really like the original anime TV series, but I don't really find myself wanting to watch recap movies. I don't even really find myself rewatching anime. So in terms of movies based on anime TV series, this would probably have to be the lowest on the low. Something I would never want to touch on my free time. The next movie on the list is the Dungeon ni Dai movie, Orion no Ya. Basically, in the English title is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? Basically, this movie was an original movie made by the studio, and the plot and everything like that, it wasn't made by the manga author. So I guess you could say it's more like an outsourced work than an original author work. In this regard, I would say it's very low on the list. I have seen a lot of kind of original studio movies, and they usually run something similar along to this pattern. All the characters within the movie were slightly different from how the original like anime TV series character are. For example, there was a scene where the goddess in the movie, she jumped off to go save this kid and her mother from these CGI monsters. And after the aftermath, Bel Crano, pretty much goes up to her and says like, you can't do that. You're a girl, you should be more careful. I was like, would the real Bel Crano actually say that? Like I imagine him more of a wimp and more oblivious to a lot of things. Obviously, he would be really worried about her, but I don't think those lines particularly fit him word for word. Besides the character difference, there's also the plot. The original studio movie cannot progress the main character's personality, and they cannot progress the plot in a way that he gets more power before like the next season starts or something similar along those lines. So for example, instead of raising Bel Crano's power, to like, what is it? He's like level 2, after he fucking defeats that enemy, he becomes like level 3. Like, no, you can't do that. So instead, they gave him like this spear, which is like an all god killer spear. This is a way to kind of like circumnavigate the whole upgrading your level and becoming stronger. He's still level 2 by the end of the movie, but he doesn't technically get any stronger because it removes all progress. So basically, anything you watch in this movie does not contribute to the original anime TV series. Basically, it's in its own kind of universe. And yeah, your own universe kind of movie is fun in a way, but there's those limitations that make the movie a lot less fun to watch. That's not to say the movie was bad. There was one scene in particular where he was dancing with the goddess, which I thought was really cool, but plot wise, it didn't really make any sense. I mean, he was dancing with her to increase their relationship with each other, which in turn makes the spear stronger. And to be honest, there is also another example or another movie that I watched that kind of goes against this. So I watched the Goblin Slayer movie, Goblin Crown. This movie was much closer to what Goblin Slayer was. And what Goblin Slayer was Goblin Slayer going to different parts of the land to murder goblins. And pretty much that's what this movie is. He goes to a different land. He goes murder more goblins. He saves a girl. For some reason, she's not dead. And then he fights a new type of goblin, which is called a goblin paladin. That movie, in terms of a original studio movie, was really well done. Like the characters didn't feel out of place. It felt like everything they said was something that they would do in the TV series as well. So that kind of matched up. And I would say it gives a kind of outlier to the whole original studio movie. Basically, if it's done well, then you won't really notice too much. You'll still notice that it doesn't really contribute anything to the original anime TV series. So the next movie that was on the list that I also watched was the Ray Zero movie, the Hyoketsu no Kizuna, the Frozen Bond. Basically, it's a prequel. It showed more of Amelia and Puck. From the original anime TV series, we didn't really know too much about Amelia. We just know that Subaru likes to simp over her. And even then, there wasn't much like character development with her. She was always kind of like afraid. We didn't really know why she was afraid all the time either. But this movie kind of like expands upon that, like expands upon her personality, expands upon her past, expands upon her relationship with Puck, expands upon Puck because, we didn't really know too much about the cat. So that was all good. It had a good climax as well, where Puck eventually faces off against the Fire Lord Judgment dude. And I think he was also a good antagonist as well. I liked him. And everything about the movie was good, like there was a nice progression. It wasn't like an original studio animation or original studio movie. It wasn't a recap movie. However, the one nitpicky thing that I would say about the Ray Zero movie is that it's a prequel. It comes before the anime TV series, obviously, right? But because it comes before the anime TV series and you watch the anime TV series first, that means like you're kind of watching in on like a past, or you're watching in on history, and it has much less impact. For example, if you're told about the World War II, there was a lot of stuff that happened in World War II. It was a very crazy war. But then, as opposed to, let's say, the anime TV series, which would be now, like, World War III, like, what would World War III happening right here and now compare to World War II? I hope that actually makes sense when I'm done looking over it in the recording. That kind of brings me over to the next movie that I watched, which was the Shirobako movie. So for those of you who probably never watched it because Shirobako is more like an old man's anime, this is where basically the main character, she joins an anime studio. She is basically the producer, and it shows all their relationships. It shows all the networking stuff going on. It shows all the deadlines. It shows all the managerial work. It shows all the animators, like the struggles. It shows a lot of the background stuff that kind of happens that goes into like making an anime. And basically this movie was a sequel. It was 4 years after the original anime TV series. Where are they now? Now that they made this great anime, and it shows like they're kind of in ruin because they tried to make another anime. However, that anime was canceled due to, I guess, negligence. So basically, this movie was more about picking everyone up, gathering them together, and then moving them towards making another anime. Because everybody was completely split. Everybody was going in their own direction. It was a fantastic sequel in that, like, it was a 2-hour anime movie. Like, when's the last time you saw a 2-hour anime movie? And it also had like 7 different songs within it, even though it's not even really like a song anime. Like, the animation was unbelievably good. Like, everything looks so high quality. And then it even started like flexing on you, showing like super fluid animations, even though, you know, it's not even really like an action anime. Like everything about it was just so high quality, you know, like there was nothing really nitpicky. Like even by the end of the Shirobako movie, the anime movie that they were making, they showed the anime movie, and even the anime movie that they made inside that anime was actually pretty good. Even all like the animations and all the fluidity flowed into that movie as well. Like you could see that they didn't pull back on anything. It was so good. The thing is, it's still not on the top of the top, because despite all that, one flaw I would say is that it didn't really have a very solid or like a heated up kind of moment, you know, like everybody was just trucking along, you know, there were problems, but they got fucking together. There were intense scenes, but you know, it wasn't overall intense. And I guess that kind of brings in personal taste. You know, when a movie is so high quality, but it's still not really what you would watch on a daily basis. This kind of goes into the next two movies. So I would say that these next two movies are very equal. However, in terms of this YouTube video, I would say the latter is better in terms of a movie based on an anime TV series than the former. So the former, which is Sainai Heroine, or How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend. If you've not watched it, it's basically a very heavy light novel movie. You could feel it while watching it, you know, like there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of deep, complex feelings going around, and to be honest, there's a lot of thoughts I had even after the movie ended, but I'll put that at the end. What puts this above the Shirobako movie was that it had a very firm storyline, which was the main character, which he was trying to make his own game, and he had this girl next to him who was supporting him pretty much. And basically, it was them getting together and them getting the game together. However, there was problems where, you know, his former, you know, quote unquote lovers, was it Utaha and Riri? Utaha and Eriri. They were both in a kind of a pickle, and then the main guy, Tomoya, he would go, he went to them to go fix, you know, whatever problem that they had. But then that kind of leaves the girl that's been supporting him the whole time, Megumi, in like this kind of, you know, like sad spot. Basically, you know, it puts a ripple in their relationship, but, you know, they eventually get through it, and then they both get together. So I would say that is a very more concrete storyline than the Shirobako movie, which was just to make an anime movie and make that anime movie within the deadline. So the latter was the Fate Stay Night movie 3 Heaven's Feel Spring Song. So I think a lot of you know what Fate Stay Night is. I don't really need to explain that. It's pretty hard to say what's so great about this movie. I can say things like this movie was great because it was based on the Fate Stay Night series, and you know, UFO Table is the one animating it, and they always do a great job at it. There's also the high quality statement where everything just looks fantastic. All the drawings are done well. Everything is super fluid. And then there's also the other aspect of where the characters are all very in-depth. You know, these are characters you have seen over the years, and now they're returning back for, you know, another round. It could also be like the action scenes, you know, particularly Saber and Rider scene. That was just amazing. Everything was flying up, but everything was also so high quality that I could see every little thing that's happening. Or you know, you could say it's more like how the plot developed. Even though, you know, Shiro is gonna be the savior and he's gonna make everything right and he's gonna save Sakura, you still love the same kind of story that you always kind of known. It also has my personal preferences, which is pretty much just like a lot of action, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, and you know, just kind of like that adventure feel to it. There's just a lot of elements, and I think it's very hard to kind of like pinpoint one single thing that's great about the Fate Stay Night movie, and it just does everything right, you know. And just between you and me, I actually preferred the Sainai Heroine movie over the Fate Stay Night movie. It was much more unique. I'm a big fan of Utaha, and even though the ending kind of cucks me, it still really pulled me in. That's pretty much it. I'm out. Bye.